Now that we are familiar with Google Collaboratory and have a better understanding of PIV analysis and CFD simulations, let's talk about the experiments that we are going to do in this laboratory. This is the FlowX tower and it's gonna help us do the experiments. So let's take a closer look. So the device has a water reservoir here on the bottom. It has a pump that will circulate the water through the pipes in the back and these instruments in the front. It's a closed-loop recirculating device. We have also a ventilation valve which when open will let some air into the pump and we will get bubbles in the flow that can help us see the flow better. So the first instrument that water goes through is this flow meter. The flow meter will give us the volumetric flow rate in GPM, that's gallons per minute. It has a knob to adjust the flow rate as we want. Most of the experiments will be done with a flow rate of 0.8 GPM, that is equal to 0.05 liters per second. After that, water enters this settling tank. The purpose of this tank is to eliminate fluctuations in the flow. So when water is pumped, as you can imagine, it's not a steady current of fluid. It has fluctuations. A settling tank like this eliminates a large portion of these fluctuations. Then the water enters this area here. As you can see, we have some vertical fins and an expansion. The fins help eliminate the turbulence in the flow as the flow is forced to go upwards without mixing when it goes through these fins. Also, the expansion helps to get a uniform flow across the whole cross-section. Then the calm, uniform flow enters the main test section, flows through it, and returns to the water reservoir through the pipes in the back. Here in the test section, we have a controlled uniform flow, and we can put different geometries in front of it to see and study the flow as it passes these geometries. So for the PIV analysis, we'll put some PIV particles in the water. You can see them here. This looks like milk, but is actually very small particles dissolved in water. So we will put some of this in the water, and then we have LED lights on both sides of the test section. We can turn them on to illuminate the flow, and we also have a camera to get PIV images of the moving particles, of the illuminated moving particles, right? So for the lab, we have three different inserts that we are going to look at. The first is the orifice comparison insert that has three different geometries. Then we have the Venturi model, which is a contracting nozzle, and it has two holes for pressure measurement. So actually we have a pressure transducer here in the device that will give us the differential pressure between these 2 points. One at the inlet of the Venturi and one at the throat. And then lastly, we have the square model, which is simply a square put in front of the flow. So let's go back to the computer screen so that I can explain what we are going to do in the lab. So we have three different inserts, and each insert has its own separate section in the laboratory report, in which we look at the flow as it passes through the insert and sketch a drawing from the flow, do the PIV measurements, and we run CFD simulations. And we repeat these steps for each insert. In addition to this, for the Venturi insert, we also find the flow velocity using the Bernoulli equations, and we compare these results to PIV and CFD findings. So in the lab report form, in each section you will find a picture showing the dimensions of the insert. You will find also a video of the flow passing through the insert, and there is also a PIV code cell to run PIV analysis in which PIV images are already provided. and there is also a CFD code cell to run the CFD simulations. So you are all set to start your lab report form. Good luck.